So, hello everyone. We are here with Mohammad Obaidat, and he's going to talk to us about his business model campus. He's a director at Queen Rania Center for Entrepreneurship, and we want to welcome you, Mohammad. We are very interested in your presentation.
Cheers. Thank you, my friend. I'm glad to be with you all. It's quite an honor to be with the IEEE guys, the most innovative group around here. I'm not going to take a lot of time talking. I'll leave a lot of time for asking questions. So maybe we can just kickstart and talk about the topic. Usually, whenever we talk about the business model and the business model innovation, we try to focus a lot on how can we make money out of an invention. And we talk a lot about the canvas that we see. But before that, I think there is a very important part that we need to talk about, which is what is an innovation and how we can think about it in a better way. Having a lot of engineers, we can start talking about the first introduction for hybrid cars or the first introduction for electrical cars. And you will see that it has been since a very long time, and it's not a new thing that we're actually using today. So it's not really the Toyota. It's a very old concept. It has been developed. Maybe it wasn't really commercialized. Maybe it wasn't really strong enough. Maybe the technology wasn't ready enough. But the innovation was there since forever. And the idea is how can we turn that innovation into a product that people are willing to pay for. The same happened with the vehicles concerning the electrical vehicles. It has been there, some concepts, some very interesting stuff, but unfortunately, it didn't take off. Same thing happened with many interesting inventions and products. I'm not going to talk a lot about them. We're going to jump into the business model canvas itself. But initially, in the 60s, some people rated the diapers as one of the most innovative ideas. And it was not just because they're really good and helpful. They take a lot of pain from the parents, and they help them with the idea of taking care of the child. But it was actually because of the impact it made on the health of the babies themselves and the side effect it had on the development of the healthcare industry. Many other inventions actually changed the world, including contact lenses, including the CAD algorithms that we started using later on, the internet, and many others. Till the 70s, we started seeing something a bit different. So we were used that innovation is built around creating a product. So you have to build a technology, some sort of a technology that you take it from the labs, put it in front of people, and people getting pay for it and start using it. In the 70s, the idea started changing a little bit, thinking about why don't we innovate in the business model itself or the way we operate? Instead of just thinking about why don't we create something more innovative, let's think of what we create already and operate it in a better way or in a more innovative way or in an effective way and more efficient processes. That's when Southwest Airlines came to place in the 70s, and they had something really interesting, which is let's have the cheaper type of airlines operational model, which is usually people have to pay a lot of money in order for them to travel from one place to another via planes. Southwest Airlines came with the idea of let's make it cheaper. And when they started thinking about let's make our trips or our airline travel cheaper, they didn't really think about the invention of the plane itself. They didn't think about changing the engines. They didn't think about changing the shape of the airplane itself. They just thought about how we operate the airplane industry, which what we call a business model. Just technically look at your operations and processes and change them so you can have it in a better way, more efficient way, and cost effective. Same thing happened later on with Toyota when they introduced the lean manufacturing process, and they started thinking about the way they operate in order for them to be able to penetrate new markets and to expand beyond their existing markets. And that was a great growth for Toyota in the 70s when they started implementing a lean manufacturing process, which is reducing the wastes and the costs of operation through introducing new models of operations and processes. And that was a very innovative thing that created a great industry. We kept working around these stuff till the 2000s. And in the 2000s, everything became around the internet. So any invention we talk about is technically related to the web, related to introducing a new website, related to introducing a new mobile application, so on and so forth. Is it really only about introducing mobile applications? Is it only about introducing new websites? Most of the startups, most of the incubators we see globally, they're talking a lot about those new, very beautiful mobile applications and websites. But what about hardware technologies? What about the inventions that we're used to? Is it time for them? Is it enough of them? We don't really need, and we don't really need them anymore. Actually, we still need them. And this is why we started thinking about the business model innovation in a different way. And we started considering, why don't we change the business operations and introduce a new concept, which we call the business model canvas, so we can have more impact on our type of operations and our type of businesses. To take you to the canvas itself, I'll just go to one single slide, and we can focus most of the time on it. Every single person who buys a product buys it for one of the following 4 reasons. If you look at your purchasing behavior, it's technically one of those 4 reasons. Function, social, emotional, or the opposite of which maybe we can leave it for later. Any of you, whenever you wake up in the morning, you want to buy some coffee so you can wake up, or you want to buy some sandwich, or you want to go and get some chewing gum, whatever is the product that you're looking for, the reason behind buying it is one of those 3 or 4 reasons, which is either you're looking for a functionality, or you're looking for a social belonging to a group of people maybe, or you're looking for an emotional satisfaction, or it's because you're that kind of person who doesn't like to choose just simple options. You'd like to research more and get to know more exactly about what you're deciding to buy. One of the products that we always look at is the Nissan electrical vehicle, the Leaf vehicle. A lot of people would buy it in the Middle East maybe because they want to have a cheaper vehicle where they don't really consume a lot of fuel. In other countries, they would look at it as a great vehicle where they buy it so they can protect the environment. So it's the same product, but it's a different functionality. They're not buying it for an emotional maybe or a social reason. They're focusing on the functionality of it, and they want to either reduce cost or they want to have a better impact on the community or the society through being good to the environment. Other types of products, they would buy it for a social reason. Maybe they want to have a positioning in a certain community, or they want to look nice in front of a group of people. Just for like example, the Rolex. I doubt that we would buy a Rolex because we want to see what time is now, or because you're concerned a lot about the time of the location that you are positioned in. It's mainly about the social aspect. It's mainly about you try to position yourself in a certain way so people can receive you in a certain way that you would like. So it's a social reason that you decided to buy the product. When you look at the emotional part, sometimes you would go and buy a product just because you want to feel that you belong to somewhere. For example, I used to go and buy this organic hummus, even though it doesn't taste like the hummus back in my home country, in Jordan. When I used to live in the UK, I used to buy this product just because I want to feel a little bit closer to my country. So it's homesickness that made me go and buy this product. Or for sometimes some people would go and buy a certain mobile phone that looks a bit pink maybe, or it has that blue color in it. The reason for them to buy that product is not because they're excited about the functionality of the pink itself. They're excited about the color because they're emotionally attached to it. So the reasons for you to buy any product, before you go and buy it, try to look, what is the main reason for me to go and purchase this specific brand or this specific product? From there, you can dig deeper and start thinking, then there must be a way for me to decide if I'm going to build any type of technology or if I'm going to use any type of technology. There is a certain reason those people will buy it. And if they're gonna buy it, it's gonna be one of those 3 reasons. And one of those reasons will be the one single reason I'm going to focus on through my communications with them and through the messaging I'm gonna share with them. That leads us to a very simple thing, which is the first step in doing any business model. If you want to have a very solid business model, before you start thinking about the big canvas that I'm going to show you in a bit, you have to start thinking, the technology that I have or the product that I have, does it have a market? Are people interested in it? Would it add value to the community that I'm operating in? So first of all, start thinking what type of traditional methods they are using. Are there currently traditional methods they're using that solves a certain problem for them and are coming to compete with this traditional method? For example, today we have a new invention that's called, for example, some mobile applications for budgeting or for financing. Or today we have the electrical vehicles. What was the traditional method for them that they used to use before having the electrical vehicles? It could have been the simple the hybrid vehicles, or maybe even before that, the traditional vehicles. What was the pain they're trying to solve with those vehicles, and how can the new vehicle solve the current problem that they are facing? And how am I going to compete with the existing technologies that other companies are offering? On the other hand, before you submit any idea or before you think about any product, you have to think, can people afford this product? And can people deduct part of their budget to start investing money in this product or not? If you manage to think about those things, and if you manage to go and sit with customers and do some sort of testing with them, asking them about what they use, asking them about what kind of technologies they are implementing and putting in place, from that point, you'll be able to dig deeper and decide if those customers are actually the right customers for you or not, and if those customers are going to give you money for the solution or the technology that you are offering or not, which is technically this canvas. This canvas is nothing but a snapshot for a business operation. The main idea people started using this canvas is simply just because they're thinking about what kind of value we can offer and how can we be more competitive in front of other players in the market. If you look at it, it's simple 9 blocks. It has customers on one side, and it has value proposition in the center of it, and it has key partners at the other side. Those 2 or those 3 aspects of any business model are the key aspects for success or failure of a certain business model. If we take it at the very first side of it, which is the customer segment, the customer segment takes you back to the validation part, where you have to start thinking, many inventions happened before, but they never saw the light. Or maybe they worked for a little bit and then they died. What was the reason behind that? If you talked about the first hybrid car or the first, let's say, electrical vehicle, or if you talk about the first lighting systems that happened years ago, what was the reason that some of them died? And what was the reason some of them survived and managed and continued? What was the reason many of Apple products or Google products came to life and then collapsed? And what was the reason that some of them came to life and continued till today? It's the customer fit. It's the customer need and customer willingness to pay money for this type of product, to take value out of this product. The first thing we do is when we think of any technology, we go and look at the customer segment and we start doing some sort of validation. We decide and say, who are my customers? Is it gonna be parents? Is it gonna be kids? Is it gonna be single parents, single mom, single dad? Or is it gonna be a university students, sorry? What type of segment I'm focusing on? And you cannot say everyone, because you can never sell everyone in your whole life. What you have to think of is I have to choose a certain group of people. Those certain group of people would be very interested in solving a certain pain or solving a certain problem that I can solve with my existing technology or with my new invention or my new operation model. If today, for example, a lot of people are trying to solve the pain of, let's say, agriculture and having a safer food or beautiful flowers in their houses, but they cannot afford maintaining it. It costs them a lot of water, or the environment is very bad, so they cannot really continue having them in a very beautiful way, in a very nice way. Then maybe I have to think of a technology that can solve that certain problem. So technically, you immediately limited all the communities and you focused on a certain community that is very interested in the agricultural part, maybe for beauty purposes or for, let's say, harvesting purposes. They want to have organic products planted in their houses and they eat it without going to the market and buy from products that they're not sure about. Once you define that certain segment, you can start going and thinking about what is the value you are trying to offer. I have some beautiful examples for some companies that managed to do it. And sorry for the many sliders. Let's take those companies. The Post-it guys. 3M, when they started creating those beautiful Post-it, today all of us were using it for many different reasons. Some of it they're using it because they're beautiful and colorful. Some of us are using them because they want to keep notes and put it inside the book and not really destroying the book or not destroying their notebook with some sort of tape. So those Post-it are very beautiful and good, and they won't really destroy or damage the pages. Other people, they would just buy it and use it because they look very nice, very fancy, and they like to put it on their desks. So all of us were buying it for different reasons. But if you take it back to the origin of 3M Post-it, what was the reason? That was the certain problem Post-it is trying to solve for a certain customer segment. That could be the people who would like to put it on certain surfaces and without destroying or damaging these surfaces. Let's say a wall surface or an office surface or even a page surface. That was a certain pain offered for a certain group of people. The growth of it today became totally different. Many different people for many different reasons. But the origin of it started with solving a certain problem for a certain group of people. Another example that I really like is those guys. The North Face, they created this beautiful jacket, and they created it from biomimicry, and they thought of the beautiful spider web, and they selected the certain spider webs that are really strong and they're durable, they can maintain different type of environment. And when they mimicked these type of spider webs, they managed to create a beautiful textile and became very innovative. But they didn't come to offer this type of jacket for everyone. They focused on a certain segment, which is the people who might be willing to go hiking for a very harsh environments, where they need to have a light jacket because the spider webs are really light. So the kind of, let's say, textile they created out of it is really light. And at the same time, they thought of something that can be strong, that can face the harsh environments they're going to hike in. So when we talk about these harsh environments, we're talking about a type of textile that can maintain or be durable in these harsh environments. They created this jacket. It could be expensive, but it's focused on a certain type of segment. Another type of thing that was really interesting is the hybrid for Toyota. The hybrid for Toyota was really nice because it focused on a certain problem that can be very valuable for some people, which is reducing the emissions for the CO2. And that was very important and a very specific pain for a group of people. And they needed to penetrate a bigger market from those people. But let's not forget that many other people started using the hybrid cars, not for the sake of environment. They started using it for the sake of fuel efficiency and reducing costs on themselves. But the main segment that they started with was focusing literally on reducing emissions for CO2. Slowly, it became a bigger thing and grew to a bigger segment. Other type of values could be around customization. Many people would say, you know what, I don't really like the Android because it's messy, it's hard to use, I can't really, let's see, have it secured 100%, so they would go to iOS. But you have another group of people, a customer segment, that they would like to have the opportunity to customize and modify and adapt their operating system on their mobile the way they want it and the way they love it. This is why the customization feature at the early days of Android was very helpful and very beneficial for a certain customer segment. And that was a great value driven that helped many customers choose and decide that they would go to Android, not any other companies. Also, we have cosmetics industries. They did a great job. Another company that I really like is Apple. Apple, for them, they managed to create a value proposition that people didn't really look at their early days, which is let's look our customers in a group of ecosystem of products. When you say a group of ecosystem of products, that means you cannot really get the full experience unless you have a full set of technologies or products with you. The customer segment that Apple focused on, they wanted them to be loyal to Apple itself and only Apple. So they started selling certain technologies for those people and offering them extra new technologies by time where they had them in a full ecosystem. That's the Apple ecosystem. This value proposition tackled a group of people who were very excited, very interested, and kept a strong positioning for Apple up until today, where Apple is technically a place where you go inside and you can never come back from it, because it's a full ecosystem that gives you everything that you want with all the added values that you're seeking. So if you want a machine of laptop, you can have your Apple laptop. If you want a mobile, you can have your mobile from Apple. If you want a tablet, you can have your tablet from Apple. If you want a TV, you can have your Apple TV. So they created this full ecosystem where they managed to focus on a certain customer group who would like to be connected with them. That does not mean they stopped selling to other people. They kept selling for sure. But the certain customer group that they focused on, this segment, was a very important segment for them to create a huge brand loyalty and to create the success that they have today. So that's when it comes to the value. When it comes to the value, you have to start thinking, what is the value I'm offering for people? And who are the people that I'm thinking about? And when you think about it, let's look at this couch. How do people usually buy couches? They go to some place, they look at it. It could be IKEA, it could be any other furniture place. They see a beautiful piece of furniture. They can afford it. They look at the price, they like it, and they take it and go. What if we decided the value of the couch is not only for sitting on it? It has to be with, let's say, durability and ability to have it for a long time. And maybe I'm targeting a group of students. Can they really buy an expensive couch? They cannot, but they'd love to have it. All right. Do they really want to have a couch for a long time? Maybe not, because, students usually change from one place to another all the time. So can I sell, instead of selling them the couch, can I rent them the couch? That was one of the things a group of students at the University of Bath started thinking of. And they were like, you know what, let's start renting the couch instead of selling it. So the value of the couch became not only just to sit on it, it's to sit on it and having it for a lower price and keep the options for you open, because you don't really own it. You can own it now and you can change the furniture or change this couch every now and then, because you didn't really pay for it a huge number of money. And still the ownership is not for you, it's for the company that you really purchased it, that you really rented it from. This company, when they started renting the couch, many customer segment or many group of the customer segment, which is the university students, got excited about it. And they were like, we want to start renting this couch. They started renting it because they cannot afford buying an expensive couch. So renting it for a lower price was an option. And the other reason, many of them were like, you know what? I'm sitting here in this accommodation or in this place where I'm staying for a semester or 2 semesters tops. I'm gonna change later on. So how about I take it for this semester, the next semester I can look for another piece of furniture, or at least when I move from one place to another, I can go and look for another piece of furniture and have it with me. That's how they started, and they started renting couches. It was very successful for them. Slowly they started thinking about other kitchen appliances, like a blender or like a small chopper or any of those small kitchen appliances. And the value of them became not really just owning them to do whatever kind of activity you want. It's owning them at a lower price for a certain period of time, because you don't have the facility to store those things, or because you don't really want to invest a lot of money to keep it. So thinking of existing products that people are usually buying or usually they would like to have is not only about the traditional method. Try to look at it from a different perspective and try to look at it from the perspective of different customer segments. Today we have a lot of different customers. Maybe they're thinking about the product in a different way, and maybe they cannot afford it. Maybe they would like to keep changing. Maybe the mentality of them buying is totally different than how it used to be. How about we relook at some of those products, existing products and existing methods of purchasing? Can we re-innovate the way we sell them? Can we re-innovate the way we give the experience for the customer through them? Or does it have to stay the way it used to be since forever? Another thing that people started thinking of, and Amazon did a very nice job for a while with it, was how about we start thinking about the laziness that happened with customers, and the fact that customers are always busy. If you ever heard of Amazon Dash, Amazon Dash was nice for a period of time. I was really working, at least from my side, I think it was working in a nice way, but then I'm not sure why it stopped. Amazon Dash was nothing but a button. You put it on places like your washing machine, your fridge, your pet house, whatever. And each one of these buttons, once you press it, you order, for example, the detergent, or you order some wine to get, or you would order the cat food. The main idea is people usually forget to buy these side stuff. And because we're busy, we keep going from one place to another. We get lost in many things that we are doing over the day. We might go back home. We have to do some laundry and we figure out, oh, damn it, I forgot to bring my Tide, or I forgot to bring that detergent from the market. Instead of going into that loop, they created a different experience for the customers, where all what you have to do, once you do your laundry and you see that, oh, okay, I'm out of detergent, or my detergent is about to be done, you just press a button and you will get the detergent delivered to your house, to your doorstep, and you can use it, and you don't have to worry about going to shop for these products. These simple things that you would usually forget when you go to the shop or when you go to your work and come back. This thing was focused on the experience part. The same thing happened with Uber. Uber, the main value they tried to deliver to their customer segment is those customers who might be in a hurry, who might be a bit annoyed with the taxi experience, maybe. The ones who are trying to be safe, who are worried about being in a different place, different city, a place that they're not sure about, and they want to have that safe environment without going to taxis and hear all of these taxi stories. They created a very simple experience where through few clicks on your mobile or a few taps on your mobile, you would get a car coming to your doorstep, take you from your location to a different location, the location that you chose. All the information is technically kept, saved. You can track your ride. People can track your ride. You can share it. And you can pay even without communicating with the captain through paying via Visa card. So the whole experience was different from the taxi experience. And the segment that they focused on, they knew exactly what they are looking for. They knew that we have a group of people who are maybe looking for a safer environment, maybe looking for a faster environment or more convenient environment for them. So they'd rather use this instead of the taxi. This happened because the segment found a lot of pain in their existing methods, the traditional method, which is the taxi. And Uber came with a very new value proposition that solved that certain problem. The problem with the value proposition is, once you create a very beautiful, nice, fancy value proposition, a lot of people will copy it. So if you don't maintain it, sustain it, and continue developing, you won't be really able to keep that stand in the market. So the main idea behind introducing any innovative value proposition is to keep developing your innovation through the experience, the design, the looks, and the pain of the customers. Keep in touch with your customers so you can understand how it works. So your value proposition is the center of your business model, that's right, but this center is driven from your core customer segment. And the customer segment are the people who are going to pay for it. So you have to make sure that whatever kind of things you are offering for them is actually valuable and they're willing to pay for it. Let's take another example, which is those two. All of you maybe heard of Craigslist, or maybe you used Craigslist. And some of you, and maybe all of you, used Airbnb. If you go back in time, you would go to Craigslist and open it. You would find, for example, an apartment for rent for a short period of time, or you would find a room for rent that someone decided to put it out there on Craigslist so he can rent it and make some extra money. The way you look at it and the way you see that Craigslist, which is technically, let me show it to you. This one is Craigslist. It's not that exciting. I'm not seeing pictures. I'm not really feeling motivated. And if I want to go there, I might need more pictures. I might need to see the place myself. I might need to go and check the location before actually decide to rent it. Because there is no information. It's very limited. It's not really that exciting for me. When you go to Airbnb, on the other hand, Airbnb, they decided to introduce a different way of doing that. If you have an extra room in your house, if you have an extra floor, maybe you are living in a 2-floor place and you want to rent the second floor, or maybe you're leaving your apartment for a couple of days, a couple of months, and you want to keep renting it for different people, you can use this place. You can use Airbnb, and you can decide, put the location exactly where your apartment is. You can take pictures. You can get verified. You can put picture for yourself. You can create a profile that makes it easier to communicate with you. And as well, you can see and check those people who wants to use your apartment, who wants to rent it. They can give you all their information. They're verified. There's feedback about them. So it's made the design of it, the design of the whole experience, made it easier for people to be able to communicate and feel that there is more trust compared to Craigslist at the early days, when it used to be, you know what, it's very hard for us to trust such kind of technology because there is still missing information, or it's not really a complete image that we have about the technology that we want to use. And that's what they call trust by design. So the value here was coming not only from the fact that you can make money through your renting your house, and you can reduce the cost of your trip because you can rent an apartment or rent a room with a cheaper price than a hotel. There was also the aspect of trust by design, which is a certain value that us in our psychology and our subconscious, we always look for it. And it makes it easier for us to take a decision. So the value proposition is always connected with the customer segment and always connected with the pain that people are trying to solve. Even if there are other people solving it before you, you have to think what kind of thing they're missing and how can I really use it in a different way. Let me show you something, a company that I really like, and they did it in a very beautiful way, which is, sorry for this, those people. The Free People. It's an American company. They sell clothes. The main idea for them was they figured out that people, when they go and shop for clothes for special occasions, you would like to share this special occasion with as many people as you can. So I decided to go and buy a certain costume, and this costume I'm using it for a certain hangout, let's say the countryside activity. I want to have a cowboy type of party. And I would like to share that outfit that I bought and that experience of buying it with the group of friends that I have. But I would also like to share it with more people so I can have more excitement. The way Free People did it is that they created a new value for the ones they are targeting, for the group of customers, the customer segment that they focused on, is that they told them, we're not only selling you a great quality type of clothes and a very nice design and all of this stuff, they also told them that we were giving you the social aspect or the social satisfaction of them sharing their stories on a blog owned by Free People. So all what you can do is take pictures and share pictures about what you did and share a tiny story about what was the experience. That thing got that group of segment or that segment of customers excited to start using Free People more. If you think about it, it's a very simple thing. It's a very simple step, but it was very impactful for this certain customer segment, and it was a great value proposition for them. And that made them think more about using this technology or this website, let's say, and made them more excited to share their stories and talk more about what they are doing. What brought other customers on board with Free People. So the value proposition can be very exciting. Another thing, which is Harley-Davidson or Unity 3D. The great value Unity 3D offered was really exciting for a main reason, which is Unity 3D, they created a family feeling for everyone who is using Unity 3D. So they got us all together as web developers, as game designers, and game designers, and even middleware developers. They got them all together in one place. They felt connected. They feel that they're working together for not only game development, but for a cause, which is make the game development more accessible, easier, and faster for people. That got them all connected and created the value of community, a social value that the customers of Unity 3D were seeking. And that's why in very, very limited time, they managed to get thousands of users on their platform. And they managed to have a wonderful community that technically means a family for all the Unity people. That's when it comes to the value proposition and creating a very unique value proposition. Another thing that was really exciting, and I believe it's really beautiful when you think of an innovation, value proposition, and a customer segment, is Tata. Tata, when they worked on what they are offering today and the very beautiful thing that they have, which is their vehicles, if you go back in time, they didn't really have any technology in their first car or their first vehicle that they offered. It was a very limited type of technology. It was very minimal. It was not expensive. And the main reason they created it is thinking of the core value people are seeking. They took the vehicle to its basics, which is the value of a vehicle is taking you from A to B, from one location to another. That's the main reason you buy it. You don't buy it because it's fancy. You don't buy it because it's fast. You don't buy it for all of those reasons. That's the basic reason you buy it. On top of that, segments differ. Some segments, they would like it faster. Some segments would like it more beautiful. Some segments, they like it more technical. But they took it to the core and the base, and they started looking for a certain segment, which is those people who are not there to afford the fancy and to afford the beautiful, unique, special technology in the vehicle. They're just seeking the basic need of a car, which is A to B, delivering you from one location to another. And they introduced to them the first model of Tata. That model managed to make a big market for Tata and managed to kick out other main players who were competing in the market. Because if you think about it from the perspective of those people, they weren't looking for something fancy. They were looking for something that offered them the basics that they needed, which is taking them from one place to another. And that was the certain pain Tata looked at. If that tells us anything, it tells us that you don't have to think of the highest type of technology, like inventing the internet, or inventing the first hybrid vehicle, or inventing the most beautiful mobile device, smartphone device. And it's not always about creating a technology per se. Sometimes it's about taking something that exists in the market, minimize the value that it offers because it can be afforded by a certain customer segment, and you can make a big market in this segment. Sometimes it's not about creating or changing a technology. It's about using an existing technology, an existing product, and change the way you sell it, change the way you ask people to pay for it, change the way people use it in their households or in their workplaces. So the main idea of the business model is for you to put your customer segment or think of a certain customer segment that actually have a pain, and you want to validate and verify that there is a pain, and then start thinking, how can I create a value proposition for those group of people? I can see that the time is running fast. I tried to cover as much as I can about value proposition in this limited time, and I would love to take maybe some questions so we can get you involved, guys, if you have any type of questions.
Well, thank you, Mohammed. Let me put here my video. Oh, yeah. So
I didn't expect the time to be that fast, to be honest.
yeah, it always goes super fast when we are interested, and that's great, right? So I will put you here on the big screen, and we have here 2 questions.
Yes.
And I think the first one you kind of already answered, so we can start with that one. Probably it's a shorter answer, which is how important is it to stick to the plan, and should you be more, or just should you be more flexible and have the ability to react to the world situations?
This is exactly, we said you have to validate, then go back to your customers and keep iterating the process. The plan is important indeed, but my advice, your plan is to validate a product. So if it didn't work, don't keep sticking to the plan, change the plan. So keep rotating, let's say, and keep iterating your operations.
Yeah, so it's more of an adaptable business model. that you are suggesting, right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, and also related to that, so when you were talking, especially on the Uber part, and I was thinking about, on the fact that they also went from cars and now they're already investing in foods, so that really
It's expandable.
yeah.
It's expandable. Yeah. The idea of us building a startup or creating a business model for our startup is that we are going into a roller coaster rather than a journey of building a business. So one day you're up, the plan is working, the other day the plan might collapse. So you have to be ready all the time to be agile and change the business plan, change the business model, think of something new. And it's always good to figure out that you're failing at the early days rather than seeing that you're failing but ignoring it.
Definitely, yeah. Those are great words, indeed. And also related to that, so when you're starting, so this is my personal question because you're also talking about on the startup itself, and you also said that sometimes talking to different people and getting to know different points of views from what we want to put in the market can boost also your idea and bring you more value proposition. Wouldn't that also bring I'm thinking on the other way. So what if it brings the value proposition more complex and makes it a bit harder to come across?
The most complex thing is making it simple, to be honest. And that's the whole point. Think about a lot of value propositions, but keep in mind that you're solving one pain for a certain group of people. So all of these value propositions that you created, you have to manage to downgrade them to one certain great value proposition that you can sell to your people. On the other hand, with time, you would have all of these new lovely ideas that you created in your mind, but they're still, like, let's say they're in the backlog. Every time a new competitor comes and starts competing, you take one of those beautiful new ideas and integrate it with the product. This way you're growing and you're sustaining. Like, for example, General Electric, I love them big time because it started with the small thing about electricity, that's all. Thomas Edison just thought about electricity, and it started with Thomas Labs or Edison Labs and then created General Electric. Today they're operating in everything. It's all about the innovation timeline. So yes, you're right. Start with one value proposition, keep the others in your backlog, ready whenever competitors come, introduce it.
Thank you. And okay. So we have also here another one that is also about the starting. So it is a little daunting starting your own business from scratch, especially as an engineer where we are more used to building things instead of doing some cost estimation. So the question is, are there any good data sources for estimating the initial costs, the development, the marketing?
Very good question, Gerard. And that's the biggest challenge we face most of the time with the engineers, because they come with these great ideas and the great prototypes, and they don't really want to go into the estimation because they have equations that they want to run. Is there a source where you can do the cost estimates? Yes, definitely. Each country differs. You have your Department of Statistics in your country. It's a great source of information that you can check. You have the Chambers of Commerce and Chambers of Industry. You can check them out. If you want to check your marketing campaigns and the cost of your marketing campaigns, you've got websites like Fiverr, for example. Check it out and check how much it would cost you to go there, how much it would cost you for people to create a video for you. On the other hand, there is a lot of nice information shared by other peer startups, by other fellow startups. Go to the incubators in your country, go to the innovation centers in your countries. Believe me, guys, the biggest value you gain from being in an incubator or an innovation center is not the incubator itself. Like, I'm managing an incubator in Jordan. The value is not me. The value is the other startups sitting together and sharing ideas with each other, talking about the challenges and the problems that they face. This is where you can get the greatest estimate of information and the greatest source of ideas where you can develop your market estimations and your financial costs. On the other hand, yes, you've got the Department of Statistics, you've got the Chambers of Commerce, you've got the Ministry of Trade, the Ministry of Finance. They have a lot of interesting tools. Also, there is a website that's called SBA.gov. It's the Small Business Administration of the United States. They have a lot of nice English templates that you can use and download. But don't underestimate the value of your peers. Meeting with your peers is really helpful and really, really beneficial.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. I never thought about it, and yeah, it makes all sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you never thought about it, and then you want to start, and it's super hard. But indeed, every time that you were just suggesting different things, it was like, yeah, it makes all sense. And I think networking, the that you give to the networking part is so important.
Honestly, we always advise the following for our entrepreneurs: two things. First of all, have a co-founder, because at one point you would feel very low, very devastated, very depressed, and you would feel it's too hard for me to do it. You would need that partner who would grab you from your hand, tell you, you know what, let's give it a chance, let's give it a try. Or after you meet with a client and the client gets so rude and tells you, you know what, I don't like your technology. You would need your partner telling you it's all right, maybe he doesn't, let's look for someone else who likes it. On the other hand, go to incubators and meet with your peers and open up, share with them ideas, talk to them. They'll be able to help you because they're going through the same pain. The biggest challenge for the entrepreneurs, believe me, is not being able to secure money or being able to, build the technology. You're engineers, guys. You're the scientists, planets. You can build technologies, and especially IEEE, like it's the largest group of scientists globally. You can build the technology. But the problem is you need to be able to build emotional stability inside you to continue. And once you go through that roller coaster, believe me, it's too long that you'll feel devastated. So you would need your peers to help you. And with that social package, go out and start sharing ideas that makes you feel more motivated and excited.
Wow. Thank you. And now we have another question from Abdul, which is, what market strategy advice would you give to a startup that would like to reach out targeted customers?
Two things. First of all, meet with the, let's say, a group representatives for your segment. Go meet them and go make interviews. Don't do surveys. Surveys are important, but not in this case. Go meet with them and validate, first of all, that the pain is real. After you validate that the pain is real, go check out who's solving the problem for them today. And don't say that I don't have competitors. We all have competitors. Maybe they don't offer the same great technology that you're offering. Maybe your current customers are solving their pain with a different traditional method. Go see how they're solving the problem today. Then go meet with them and validate that the pain is real and they're willing to pay for it. After that, after you validate it and you meet with them and you understand how they think, go build your initial product, a very simple product. Don't make it a full product. Don't invest a lot of money. You don't have time and you don't have money at the beginning to invest. Build a very simple prototype, a very core product that gives me the core value proposition, the main reason why would people buy it, and go test it. If you think that they loved it, get their feedback, listen to them, always listen to them. Then go back. This way you validated that your customers are ready, and this way build it and they will buy it. But if you didn't validate, if you didn't ask them, if you didn't verify that there is a pain and verified that the solution you're offering is interesting, believe me, you're swimming to the unknown. You don't really know what's going on. You don't know who are the right customers, and you don't know if the right customers are willing to pay or not. So step one, meet with them. There is a very beautiful process we call customer development process. Starts with figure out the pain, go meet with the people who has the pain, validate it. If they're not the right ones, then that's great. Shift, figure out a new group of people. Once you find the right people, go. Build a basic prototype. Sometimes it could be just simple mock-ups. Go ask them, does this solve your problem? Let them go through the experience. Get feedback from them. Those great early customers, they would be your product evangelists. They would eventually go run around and say, you know what? I love this startup. They have a wonderful product. Let's start buying from them. Slowly, you will have the right target segment.
Thank you. I think that answered quite well the question. Right, Abdul? And if you have any other questions, you can still post them up. And Mohammed, in the meanwhile, so we already answered our questions. And in the meanwhile, if there's some other popping questions, like very last minute, please put them on. But we are really running out of time. So you were very punctual. Thank you very much. And I really like your presentation. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. And since we don't have any other questions, I think we can wrap up here. So thank you once again, and I hope to see you another time soon.
Hopefully. Thank you, my friend. Have a good day.
You too.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.